We also have some breaking news this morning. The U.S. military carrying out airstrikes on Iranian-aligned groups in eastern Syria, killing as many as 11. According to reports this morning, the Pentagon says this was conducted in retaliation to a drone strike on a U.S.-led coalition base. One U.S. contractor was killed. 5 other U.S. service members were injured. That's the latest. Joining us now for more on this is retired Air Force Brigadier General and Newsmax contributor Blaine Holt. And joining me on set this morning, former DIA intelligence officer and author of Putin's Playbook, Russia's Secret Plan to Defeat America, Rebekah Koffler. It is great to have you both with us this morning. General, to you first, my friend, just wondering what you're hearing about what happened in Syria this morning and what you think this means for U.S.-Iranian relations. Now a U.S. Service member dead this morning.
Yeah, so there really, and good morning to you both, there really are no U.S.-Iranian relations to speak of. We can go back to the days when we kept chasing them with billions of dollars to not develop the nuclear weapons that they're about to finish developing. But Iran is making it very clear they don't want us there. Iran is going to continue this. I am absolutely in favor of a retaliatory strike on our part, measured within the law of armed conflict. But moreover, Rob, we got to get to the State Department and figure out what are our goals here? What are we trying to do? Russia, Syria, Turkey, all in close proximity. What is this mission and what is it trying to achieve? Doesn't mean we cut and run. It does mean we better know why we're there and what we're doing.
Rebekah, nice to have you with us on set. Do you expect more retaliatory strikes, or do you think this is over?
Well, it would be a good thing if there were more retaliatory strikes from the United States because we need to show a very strong posture. Look, Joe Biden and his nonsensical policies have created a multi-headed monster. We have Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, and now Syria all joining forces in order to challenge the United States all across the globe. There are tectonic shifts in the geopolitical balance of power, and China and Russia are leading that. So we need to display a very, very strong posture.
Rebekah, what do you make of the comparisons between what's going on right now with the countries that you just mentioned and what we saw developing in the late 1930s between Japan, Italy, and Germany?
Yes, what's going on right now is effectively a split. It's East versus the West. And Russia and China are leading the anti-U.S. and anti-Western geopolitical bloc with very long-term goals. The goal that China has identified is to displace the United States as the predominant economic and military power by 2049. And the Russians are enabling them to do that right now, because what they're trying to do is establish an alternative to the financial architecture, alternative to SWIFT, alternative to the US dollar. Okay. They're replacing it with the yuan. And we're potentially facing a two-front war, one with Russia over Ukraine and one with China over Taiwan. We're pretty stretched.
General, to you now, and I thought this was fascinating. So yesterday, Antony Blinken, again, back on Capitol Hill testifying, and he was asked about U.S. citizens still behind in Afghanistan. Let's listen.
Mr. Secretary, how many American citizens and licensed permanent residents are in Afghanistan today, and are any of them currently being held hostage by the Taliban?
Congressman, there are several Americans who are being detained by the Taliban. We are working to secure their freedom.
Now, those are being detained. How many other Americans?
How many other Americans? There are approximately, let me put it this way, since August 31st of last year, we have helped about 975.
General, that surprised me. We're talking almost 2 years removed from our withdrawal from Afghanistan. August will mark 2 years. Did that surprise you?
No, unfortunately. I wish it surprised me, but nothing out of Foggy Bottom surprises me at all. These are Americans that are left behind, and the State Department would like to forget them. The good news is the veterans here in this country are never going to forget them. And they're never going to forget our Afghan friends either, as we still work to try to get them out, despite the State Department's best interests or best attempts to thwart those rescue efforts. Secretary Blinken doesn't stand up for them. They don't ever talk about the other Americans incarcerated in countries around the world. And honestly, this is our national shame because we should be a country of no person left behind.
Yeah, good point. Rebekah, I want to get your reaction to President Xi Jinping's meeting with Vladimir Putin. 3 days in Moscow. He's now back in Beijing. Politico with some reporting this morning about how Vladimir Putin hopes to power China instead of powering Europe. That's how they will continue to fund the war in Ukraine. Your reaction to that?
Absolutely. That's what the Chinese are doing, because the Chinese are highly incentivized to keep this war going. Because as long as we are hyper-focused on Ukraine, we can't really pay full attention to Taiwan. And what Xi Jinping is doing right now, he's transitioning China on the wartime footing in order to potentially secure control over Taiwan militarily. So there are 5 things that he has done. He has stood up a wartime cabinet in October. He directed his military to put, and I quote, all energy into preparing for war. He also, China has beefed up its space order of battle from 250 satellites to 499 between 2019 and 2021. And that is because they're getting ready, everything is conducted right now in terms of our warfighting through satellites, missile warning, command and control, targeting, precision strike. And so that's what they are gearing up to do.
Tremendous when you think about that, doubling their satellites in that short a period
In
of
that
time.
short amount of time.
Amazing.
And Space Force Commander just acknowledged that even in the past few weeks, dozens of satellites were launched. In addition, they're also developing counter-space capability to deafen and blind our forces by attacking our satellites.
Great
so they're
point.
working in both directions.
Yeah, General, by the way, nice to have a Space Force, by the way. Apparently
Yes.
that was a good idea from Donald Trump, after all. Everyone was laughing at him when he proposed it. Thank goodness we have a Space Force, and hopefully they will do more to keep an eye on stuff like this moving forward. General Holt, have a great weekend. Rebekah Koffler, same to you, and thanks for being with us in-house. We appreciate it.